Seniors, listen closely. Your fridge might be quietly sabotaging your health every single day. I know that sounds dramatic, but what if I told you that 9 everyday foods you probably have sitting in there right now are actually changing in dangerous ways the moment they hit that cold air? This isn't just about stale flavors or weird textures. We're talking about chemical reactions, nutrient destruction, and hidden bacterial growth, things most people over 60 are never warned about. And here's the real shocker, over 99% of seniors still refrigerate these foods, not realizing they may be harming their gut, heart, and even their brain. Some researchers now believe our obsession with refrigeration is quietly fueling the rise in certain chronic illnesses. But today we're breaking the silence. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal the 9 foods you should never refrigerate, and exactly how to store them so they stay safe, fresh, and nutrient-rich. Oh, and just wait until we get to number 2. It's going to completely change how you shop for groceries. Drop your age and location in the comments, and tell us. Have you noticed changes when you refrigerate certain foods? 9. Honey. Honey is one of nature's true miracles. It doesn't just last months, it can last centuries. In fact, archaeologists have opened sealed jars of honey from ancient tombs, thousands of years old, and found it still perfectly edible. But the quickest way to ruin this golden treasure? Stick it in the refrigerator. Cold temperatures force honey to crystallize rapidly, turning that smooth, liquid gold into a grainy, rock-hard mass. It's still technically safe to eat, but the texture, taste, and even its healing powers change dramatically. Every time you take that chilled jar out and open it, condensation sneaks in. That extra moisture? It's honey's worst enemy. According to research from the National Honey Board, storing honey below 50 degrees Celsius can strip away up to 35% of its natural antimicrobial strength, the very compounds that make it a natural antibiotic and immune booster. Ancient cultures used honey to heal wounds and fight infections. Refrigeration slowly destroys those same compounds. The flavor takes a hit too. Honey contains over 180 unique substances that give it its complex aroma and taste. Cold storage breaks them down unevenly, making your premium raw honey taste cheap and dull. The fix is simple. Keep honey at room temperature, ideally between 64 degrees and 75 degrees, in a tightly sealed container away from direct sunlight. If it does crystallize, just place the jar in warm water and stir gently to restore its smooth texture without losing nutrients. And here's a fun fact. Darker honeys are richer in antioxidants, but they're also more sensitive to cold. Refrigeration can strip them of these age-fighting compounds faster than light honeys. 8. Bananas. You've probably tossed bananas into the fridge without thinking twice, but here's the thing. Your fridge is the worst place for them to be. Bananas are tropical fruits. They were never meant to survive in cold, dry environments, and when you shove them into the chill zone, something called chilling injury kicks in. What's that? It's when the cold literally shuts down the ripening enzymes inside the banana. The peel starts turning an ugly brown or black way before the fruit is truly ripe. On the outside, it looks ruined. On the inside, the texture becomes mealy and watery, the sweetness fades, and the aroma all but disappears. Even worse, refrigeration can slow the production of antioxidants like dopamine and catechins, natural compounds that protect your cells from damage. You lose flavor and health benefits in one go. So what should you do instead? Store bananas on the counter at room temperature, away from direct sunlight. If you want them to ripen slower, wrap the stems in plastic wrap to trap ethylene gas. And if they're already perfectly ripe but you can't eat them in time, then, and only then, pop them in the fridge for a short stay. The peel might still darken, but the inside will stay sweet and ready to eat. Think of your bananas like sun-loving vacationers. They thrive in warmth, not in an icebox. Treat them right, and they'll reward you with peak flavor and nutrition. 6. Onions. Onions may seem tough, but their layered, papery skins hide a vulnerability to one major fridge enemy: moisture. Cold environments cause condensation to collect between the layers, creating damp pockets where mold thrives. This isn't just unpleasant, it can produce harmful toxins like aspergillus byproducts that you definitely don't want in your food. Another hidden effect of refrigeration is how it changes the onion's chemistry. The cold encourages starches to break down into sugars, which alters both texture and flavor. Instead of staying crisp and sharp, refrigerated onions often turn soft, rubbery, and overly sweet. That sweetness may seem harmless, but it throws off the balance in recipes that rely on the natural bite of a fresh onion. The ideal place to store whole onions is in a cool, dry, well-ventilated space, like a pantry or a mesh basket on the counter, away from potatoes. potatoes release moisture and gases that accelerate onion spoilage. There is one exception to the no fridge rule. Once an onion has been cut, sliced or diced onions lose their protective skin, making them much more vulnerable to bacteria and mold at room temperature. In this case, refrigeration is essential. Store them in an airtight container in the fridge and use them within 7 to 10 days. So, while your instinct might be to throw all your onions into the fridge to make them last, the science says otherwise. Keep them in the right environment, and you'll preserve not only their texture and taste, but also their safety. Only when you've broken that skin seal should you let them into the cold. 5. Garlic. Why the fridge is its worst enemy. Garlic is famous for its sharp aroma, punchy flavor, and centuries-old reputation as nature's medicine cabinet. But here's the twist. Putting garlic in the refrigerator slowly robs it of its magic. When garlic sits in cold, damp air, the cloves begin to sprout prematurely. Those bright green shoots may look harmless, but they signal that the bulb's natural oils and enzymes, responsible for its flavor and medicinal potency, are breaking down. Studies have shown that cold storage reduces allicin levels, the compound that gives garlic its antimicrobial, heart-protective, and immune-boosting power. Moisture in the fridge also sets the stage for mold growth. Unlike dry rot, this mold can produce toxins that ruin both the taste and safety of your garlic. The texture changes too. Once firm cloves can become soft, rubbery, and bitter, especially if they've sprouted or begun to decay. For the best flavor and health benefits, store whole garlic bulbs in a cool, dry, and well-ventilated spot, like a pantry or countertop basket, away from direct sunlight. The outer papery skins help protect the cloves from moisture and keep them fresh for weeks or even months. There is one exception. If you've peeled or chopped garlic, it's fine to store it in the fridge for a short time, but only in an airtight container and ideally submerged in olive oil to slow down oxidation. Cooking tip: to get the most health benefits, crush or chop garlic and let it rest for 10 minutes before cooking. This waiting period boosts allicin formation, preserving its medicinal punch even after heat is applied. So skip the fridge for whole bulbs. Your garlic and your taste buds will thank you. 4. Potatoes. The sweet but dangerous transformation in the fridge. Potatoes may look tough on the outside, but inside, they're surprisingly sensitive to cold. When stored in the refrigerator, they undergo a process called cold sweetening. This happens because the low temperature converts their starch into sugar much faster than normal. At first, this might sound harmless. After all, sugar doesn't sound dangerous. But here's where things get concerning. When these chilled, sugar-loaded potatoes are later cooked at high temperatures, especially fried, roasted, or baked, they can form a chemical called acrylamide. Multiple studies, including research from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, have linked high levels of acrylamide to an increased risk of cancer in animals, raising concerns for humans too. The changes don't stop there. Cold storage also alters the potato's texture, often making it gritty or oddly sweet tasting. This can ruin the fluffy, satisfying bite you expect from mashed potatoes, fries, or baked potatoes. Proper storage is simple but crucial. Keep your potatoes in a cool, dark, and well-ventilated space, like a pantry or cupboard, where the temperature stays between 45 to 55 degrees, 7 to 13 degrees. A breathable paper or mesh bag works better than plastic, as it prevents moisture buildup and reduces the risk of sprouting or rotting. Pro tip: if you accidentally refrigerate your potatoes, let them warm back to room temperature before cooking. This can help slow down sugar formation, though it won't reverse what's already happened. And if you notice green spots or sprouting, cut them away before eating. Those areas may contain solanine, a natural toxin that can cause stomach upset. In short, potatoes belong in the pantry, not the fridge, unless you want a sweet surprise with a side of potential health risks. 3. Coffee, odor absorption, condensation damage, and flavor loss. Coffee is one of the most aromatic and sensitive foods you can own, and the refrigerator is its worst enemy. Coffee beans and ground coffee are like tiny sponges, absorbing odors from nearby foods like onions, garlic, or even last night's leftovers. This contamination doesn't just dull the flavor, it changes it entirely, making your morning brew taste off or sour. The second problem is condensation. When you move coffee from a cold refrigerator to a warm kitchen, tiny water droplets form on the beans or grounds. This moisture damages the delicate oils that give coffee its rich flavor and speeds up styling. Even short-term refrigeration can strip away the freshness you love. A 2019 study in the Journal of Food Science found that coffee stored in cold, humid environments lost over 40% of its volatile aroma compounds within just 1 week. These are the very compounds responsible for that irresistible coffee smell and taste. The best way to store coffee? Keep it in an airtight, opaque container at room temperature, away from light, heat, and moisture. This helps preserve its oils and prevents contamination from kitchen odors. If you buy coffee in bulk and can't finish it within 1-2 weeks, consider freezing it. But do it right. Divide it into small, airtight portions so you can thaw only what you need. Never refreeze thawed coffee. The repeated temperature changes will ruin it. Pro tip: grind your coffee just before brewing. Whole beans stay fresher longer, and freshly ground coffee releases its full bouquet of flavors and aromas, something refrigeration will never preserve. 2. Bread, science of staling, taste loss. Best storage methods. Think tossing your bread in the fridge will keep it fresh longer? Think again. Cold temperatures actually make bread go stale 6 times faster than leaving it at room temperature. And science has the answer why. It's called starch retrogradation. When bread cools below room temperature, the starch molecules inside begin to crystallize. This pushes out water molecules, which migrate to the surface and evaporate. The result? A dry, crumbly loaf that's lost its soft, fluffy texture. This process happens naturally over time, but the cold environment of your refrigerator speeds it up dramatically. A study published in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry found that bread stored at 4 degrees C, the typical fridge temperature, staled 6 times faster than bread stored at 22 degrees C. That means a loaf that might last 3 days on the counter could taste dry in less than 1 day in the fridge. Stale bread also loses more than texture. The delicate aroma compounds that make fresh bread smell amazing dissipate quickly, leaving a bland, lifeless taste. So what's the best way to store it? For short-term use, 1 to 3 days. Keep bread in a cool, dry place in a paper bag or bread box. For long-term storage, slice it first, then freeze in an airtight bag. When you need it, pop slices straight into the toaster or oven. This revives the crust and moisture far better than refrigeration ever could. Pro tip: if you accidentally refrigerate your bread, a quick 5-10 minutes in a warm oven can temporarily restore some softness, but nothing beats proper storage from the start. 1. Avocados. Refrigerating avocados at the wrong stage can sabotage both their flavor and nutrition. The cold environment disrupts the natural ripening process, leading to a loss of key nutrients like vitamin C, vitamin E, and antioxidants. In particular, cold temperatures accelerate fat oxidation, breaking down the healthy monounsaturated fats that make avocados so heart-friendly. These same fats, when oxidized, lose much of their health benefit and can even develop off flavors. Another hidden effect is enzyme damage. Avocados rely on enzymes like polyphenol oxidase to develop their creamy texture and characteristic flavor during ripening. If you refrigerate them too early, these enzymes slow down or stop working altogether, leaving you with a rubbery, bland fruit. The cold can also trigger cell wall breakdown, creating an unpleasant, watery or mealy texture once thawed to room temperature. The best way to store avocados depends on their ripeness. If they're still firm and green, keep them at room temperature until they give slightly under gentle pressure. Once ripe, refrigeration can help extend their life for 2 to 3 more days without major nutrient loss. Too slow browning after cutting, coat the flesh lightly with lemon or lime juice. Its natural citric acid helps inhibit oxidation, and store in an airtight container in the fridge. Pro tip: if you want to speed up ripening, place avocados in a paper bag with a banana or apple. These fruits release ethylene gas, which naturally accelerates ripening. Once the avocado reaches your preferred softness, move it to the fridge to maintain peak flavor for a short time. Handled correctly, you'll enjoy avocados that are creamy, rich in nutrients, and free from the taste and texture problems that cold damage can bring. So there you have it. 9 everyday foods that seem harmless in the fridge but can quietly lose flavor, nutrients, and even turn harmful when stored the wrong way. The truth is, your refrigerator is an amazing tool, but only when you know what belongs inside and what doesn't. Treat your food with care and it will return the favor in taste, nutrition, and safety. Now I want to hear from you. Have you been storing any of these foods in the fridge without knowing the risks? Or do you have your own storage hacks that keep food fresher longer? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read everyone. Thanks for watching. And remember, store smart, eat well, and stay healthy.